I'd like to invite everybody that's watching this right now to check out NAILD.org and also Keystone Technologies. Go to KEYSTONETECH.com.
That's right. We talked about before how they're reducing their SKUs as distributors by giving color selectability, wattage selectability, and many of their products makes it a lot easier, a lot less product you need to stock, and a lot more flexibility for the end user.
I like to say that this is presented by the DLFNY of, yeah, well, that's obviously of New York because it ends in NY. But yes, presented by what a great show, LEDucation. I'm here. We're pleased to be joined by Wendy Kaplan and Craig Fox of LEDucation of this particular event. Wow, has this gone past your wildest dreams, Craig Fox?
It certainly has, Mike. But just like 1 foot past my wildest dream. You don't understand my wildest dream.
What exactly is your guys' role here, Wendy and Craig, I guess?
So we have been the presentation chairs. I've been with it at least 18 years, and Craig joined like sometime when Fire was being developed. And we've really seen it grow tremendously. So we've since expanded our team to include Sean Fillion, who'll be jumping in a little bit. And we're so happy to be here with you.
And these are education sessions that you're in charge of?
They're educational sessions, and we had so many great submittals that we decided to include virtual when the pandemic was going on, and they just went viral. And so we now have people participating from all over the world. I believe we had, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, 11,000 people sign up or something crazy like that.
Wow. That's so a combination of in-person here and virtual. How many, I know we had it on the previous show, but how many in-person sessions are there?
33.
33, 35.
And then how many virtual?
The rest.
Everything else?
14. I think it's 14 or 16.
Or so.
Yeah,
Okay, wow.
Something like that.
But you know what? One of the things that we were doing with Get a Grip on Lighting, which is the you're listening to right now, is the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast live from LEDucation, is that before the pandemic, we were the only ones doing anything like this, and now we've embraced this digital, but it doesn't replace it. The personal matters too, but then the digital is like an extension of that. Craig, can you expand on how is LEDucation going to further its digital offerings? What is it going to do in that realm?
That remains to be seen. We take little steps. We only want to do it right, and we only want to do it once. So, I mean, we might very well. This was the having the 2 prior days last week of virtual was actually Sean suggested that, and Wendy and I thought it was a pretty good idea, and it paid off. We had tons and tons of attendees. It gave people the chance to attend all the virtuals that they wanted to and still be here, because some of them were doing load-ins on a Monday. But I thought it went very well. We're getting fantastic feedback, so we could only grow from there.
So, Wendy, you've been doing it 18 years, you said, since it started?
Yep, since it started. I came in the second year.
Second year, okay. And did you guys have educational sessions back when you first started?
So when the show started, it was really all about
It's called
LED
LEDucation, Greg.
Well, I understand, but I'm not asking you.
Bert was just on the show telling us how he named it, LEDucation.
That's right.
So, yes.
Yeah, it's always been an educational aspect to the show. It started, I think, at Publishing House, and there were, I think, 3 or 4 presentations the first year. And the first year there were only 11 display tables, and then it jumped to 30, and now it's up to, 400 something?
450.
So it's always been educational at its core.
How do you guys go about selecting the presentations?
We cannot divulge that secret.
Secret.
I mean, cash, Venmo, credit card. I mean, am I missing anything?
Puppies.
No, we get traditionally between 180 and 190 submissions, and we look for the best, brightest, new talent, known to us talent. Just, we want to build the best program we can every single year, year over year. I think we're pretty successful at it, but it comes at a cost. We have to tell our customers, friends, and family no sometimes to get the best programs.
Yeah.
So when you guys are planning next year's convention, there's been a lot of talk, or I don't even know if this is a convention, next year's LEDucation, let's call it that. Are you looking at more space? Because I'm looking behind me here, just those on the camera. That is a packed trade show floor. I'd like to keep it packed like that, but what do you guys think?
I highly doubt we're looking for more space, because more space means leaving this building. If we want any more space than this, it's that place over on 34th Street in the water, and I don't think we're looking at that because probably nobody wants to pay that.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking.
Right.
We would like to keep the show manageable so that people can actually come and learn and see the booths. We don't want to turn into that other show that was just the booths were too big. It was unmanageable. It was just a little bit too much. So we're trying to keep it at this level with improvements each year.
But you guys turned down 100-some people. I want everybody to come. How do we do that? We can't.
You
That's what
can't.
you're saying.
Can't.
Sometimes people don't go there because it's too busy. What did Yogi Berra say? Nobody goes there anymore. It's too busy. I think LEDucation has hit the nobody goes there anymore. It's too busy, but everyone's still here point. You know, folks, if you're listening to this out on the live stream, this is a wild. You can't describe this, Greg.
No, you got to be here.
Like I've never been to a light fair like this. I've never been to anything that's this packed full of lighting people. Actually,
Right. And then top it with your education sessions, and now we're going to have to bring in the new guy. Why are you leaving us? Where are you going, Greg?
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
Just like everybody else, busy life. I'm the only smart one to raise the flag and say, I'm going to step back to advisory. I'm still going to have lots to do with the vetting of the proposals and the choosing of the seminars. And I'll still play an active role on the overall education committee. But I need to step back a little bit from this. And this is where my good friend Sean Fillion comes in.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do the magic.
now
so
you
hang
leave
on.
us.
He's got okay. So thank you, Craig. Sean, take off the ear covers. That's all you got to do. Just there's ear covers on that thing. Let me just see that for a second. Yeah, just take off these for a second. And we're going to bring in Sean Fillion here. Sean, Rab Design Lighting, Sean Fillion. Thank you for joining us right in the middle of the live stream.
My pleasure.
You're biting off more than you can chew. I'm just looking at this right now.
Maybe.
We've been grooming him.
Hang on, I'm just going to fix your
Yeah.
headset right here. There you
Sure
go.
thing. How's
There
that?
you go.
Better?
We've
Yeah,
been
wait a
grooming him here.
Oh,
Yeah. He's got a big problem. I'm just looking back here. Holy mackerel.
Absolutely. But it's a great opportunity, too. There's a lot of growth that we're seeing, especially in the presentations. Expanding out to more virtual, 2 days of virtual last week. We had a huge number of attendees. We had international presenters. I think that the presentations is where we're really seeing an international growth and footprint for education, which is fantastic.
You see the virtual growing then next year. I mean, is that kind of where you're bringing it in? Is you said it was around 30 in person and 15 or so virtual.
That's true. The virtual we ran in 15 over 2 days, but the attendance was out. Each presentation had between 250 and 400 people.
Wow.
Get out of
online.
here.
Huge attendance.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And it's nice because of the way that we do the time slots for the virtual. People that are in Asia can participate because it's in their working day, and then people in California can participate in the later afternoon ones because it's in their working day. We also post all the presentations a couple weeks after the fact on the LEDucation website. So the in-person and the virtuals.
That's what I was going to ask is, would you ever combine them and make the in-person and virtual together?
We discussed that this year. Wendy said, "Slow down a little bit. Let's try one step at a
One
time."
at a time?
Absolutely. It's always a challenge doing a live stream with the in-person. We could probably take good notes from you guys, to be honest, on how to maintain it at LEDucation and do a video production as well. But it's something we've definitely been talking about because a lot of presenters are trying to decide, do I want to be in person? Do I want to be remote? And the fact of it right now is the virtual presentations get almost 3 times the attendance because we're not limited by the room size, and there are fewer conflicts. Right, you got to decide between hitting the trade floor or hitting a lecture, and that's a hard decision to make.
I think you guys have to ask yourself, what is the so we get so, as you guys may know, Sean, and Wendy, you may not, we represent the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors,
Yes.
NALD.
I do.
And, for us, we get so many applications for people that want to be members of NAILD. and what is it, 4 out of 5, Greg? We turn away.
Yeah.
Like we have to turn away so many people because they don't have light bulbs in warehouses. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you don't have light bulbs in a warehouse. You can't be a member of NAILD. No matter how much you like the podcast, that makes no difference to us, right? We have a mandate. Has the DLFNY, which is presenting this show, like we have presented by the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors, the Lighting Controls podcast, Restoring Darkness, Get a Grip on Lighting. This is presented. Has it passed the mandate of the DLFNY? Is it bigger than that? No.
It is the DLFNY show. The presentations, however, are sponsored by the IESNY. NYC. Yes. Because they are our partner. They were our original partner, but because of just some certain things, they could not do a show this size, so they are our educational partner.
Absolutely. But we do think that the mission for DLF, as well as IES in some respects, is to educate on lighting. And education, I cut my teeth going to this show as an attendee, listening to the lectures. That's how I got interested over the course of the last, 20 years almost at this point.
Sounds like Greg and I.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think that because the booths are smaller in the show, everything is more accessible, more touchable. I always send my students, I run a master's program for New York School of Interior Design and Architectural Lighting as well. I always send my students here to walk through, meet manufacturers, talk about how optics are designed, talk about the quality of sustainability in the luminaires. This is a great learning experience for them. It's not just a show. It's a fantastic learning experience.
Now, may I take a step back? Okay. I was in Germany 2 weeks ago with Greg, and we're at Lighted Build. And my conclusion from the perspective of NAILD is that there's nothing here in Germany for somebody that regionally sells light bulbs from their warehouse in Toronto or Minneapolis or whatever. But that doesn't mean it doesn't matter to other types of people that are out there, lighting designers, agents, specifiers. Do we need to redefine how this industry works, Sean? Like agents, distributors, dealers, designers, specifier. There's like a lot of terms that nobody really knows what anything means.
I definitely, speaking for an educator in my program, usually half of my students are international students, and they come in and half of what they're learning is the way that we go to market in the United States. The function of distributors, the function of lighting reps in the United States differs from, whether they're coming from India or Singapore or China or Germany. There's so many different structures. I think there's a lot of benefit to the current structure in the United States, and I think
you're talking about the channel.
Yes, I'm talking about the way that the channels, the way things get sold, and I think the way that promotes certain. Our focus on information may differ from Europe. Right? Efficacy's been king due to energy rebates, due to other things that help push things. Versus, I think Europe has had an earlier focus on things like lower glare and UGR, things that we don't talk as much about here in the U.S. But we're seeing some pivot. I mean, LEDucation is a great conference to get into those conversations because we've got a good mix of academics, designers, as well as distributors, contractors, reps. Everybody's on the floor.
So as a manufacturer, I think that many of the other countries are so much smaller, and we have the United States is huge. So I think that the way that the structure is now helps a manufacturer because we can't be in every market. So the rep system really helps us alleviate some of that and gives us broader access to our clients and to the specifiers that we want to reach out to because they know their markets, they're entrenched in their markets, and we just can't be everything to everybody, unless you're a massive manufacturer. And most of these people are not massive manufacturers at all. So,
dare I? Can I jump on that point specifically, sure. Wendy? Okay, so when you're a Canadian, I'm a Canadian, and America considers Canada small.
No.
Okay. And, California's economy is bigger than Canada, and so probably is New York's, right? But Canada's number 7 in the world, okay? Mm-hmm. So all those European economies are way smaller than Canada, except for maybe Germany, France, and Italy. Other than Germany, France, and Italy, maybe Spain. Spain's probably competes with Canada. North America is enormous in terms of its punching power. Why can't we push our way to the front? Why are we waiting for them to tell us what to do? They're over in Berlin and Germany. Why don't we tell them what to do? I'm sick of as a Canadian in North America sitting back and listening to Europeans tell us how much better it is in Europe when I actually think it's way better over here. Actually, Sean or Wendy, you guys want to comment?
We agree with you.
You agree? Like this is where I was at Light and Build last week, 2 weeks ago. This kicks Light and Build's ass. Sorry,
We think so too.
sorry. This is way hotter than Light and Build. Okay, you just have to go out on that floor right there, and you're going to see lighting practitioners, whether they're designers, agents, distributors, specifiers, whatever. Why doesn't North America or America specifically stand up and say, you know what, we're in charge. We're gonna lead the way here. Why can't we do that here?
Good question.
I think we do
You're a
in many
teacher.
aspects. I think we do.
Yeah. I mean, as a teacher, certainly there's we got to separate out research for the way that our industries function, and where I think there is a difference in terms of the power of design and the way that specifiers function in the United States versus in Europe, and there's a marked difference there. And sometimes that is in the European designers' favor, that American designers often have to compete. There's more go to bids with contractors, public bids where you have to be the lowest, and value engineering. But I also think that makes for fierce competition and pushing creativity. And really, half of the lectures that we get submitted from designers are about how to capture a specification, how to preserve the integrity of a design. I think that our designers go through rigorous projects and end up being really tenacious. And that's part of why, at least last time I looked, 20% of all international specifications are coming out of New York City lighting firms. That New York is a heart of designing international lighting as well. So I do think we're leading in terms of design. And yeah, I think in terms of the market strategy and channels, I think it works really well in the U.S. And in North America as well. I agree. I've worked in Canada, or worked for companies with a Canadian footprint over the course of the last 15 years, and I agree. There's a lot of opportunity there too. It's not just the U.S.
And you know what? Mexico is also a huge economy in
Absolutely.
comparison to any country in Europe, other than the ones I've already mentioned.
Yes.
You know, Italy, France, Spain, Germany. But other than that, like Czech Republic is like 5 million people. It's like less than the city of Toronto.
Yeah.
But I also think that if you look at where the lighting designers that are in the rest of the world are educated, the majority of them are educated here. They spend some time working at firms here, and then they return sometimes to their home countries and start their own firms. And we see a lot of that. As Sean mentioned before, many of the students are international students, and there is a large component of international students here.
I do
so they
love
cut
that.
their teeth here, and then
Yeah.
they return home.
They're getting trained
And
in
they
New
bring-
York. They learn the way that the United States does design, and then they bring that, whether they're an ILD member. Min Lai is a graduate from my program in 2015, the first listed ILD member in Vietnam. Started her own firm. She's got a bunch of employees and is doing great. That's how we lead, I think. That's how we change the industry across the world, is training people here. They learn the way of North American design.
America's
really,
good.
and then take that abroad.
Yep.
You know.
And
Yeah,
there's
make
at
it
least
local.
half a dozen lighting designers in Thailand that were educated
Yep.
and worked here. Same for Japan, Taiwan.
All
over
of
the
Europe,
place.
everyone
all of Europe,
in Europe.
absolutely.
They're like, why are they telling us what's up?
And
They just want to impress, but it doesn't work.
yeah. One thing, Sean, we talked a little before we started recording here about the student section here. Can you share on what's going on?
Sure.
Yeah,
So
that's
we've got the IS New York City has sponsored the student lighting competition now
Beautiful.
for this is our 20th year, 24th actually. It started in 2000. I've been on the committee for probably 18 years or so at this point.
Wow.
It's wonderful. We have 165 students from New York City schools. We've got industrial designers, we've got interior designers, architects, lighting designers. These students are master's students. They're graduating undergrads, but they're all here with light art projects based on the idea of proximal light, of how light can bring us together, especially in a world that's split between virtual and in person. We've got two.
Virtual is light.
I know and can think about how the camera looks at you, how it takes you in. So we've got two full ballrooms there with projects that we hope a lot of people from education will come in. We had about 800 people show up last year to interface with students. We had job offers made on the spot. We give out cash prizes. These students are very excited to meet our industry and learn all it has to offer.
Before we go, and I know Craig's not here, but
It's right over there.
you know, I interviewed her twice. They say the man, the myth, the legend, the woman the myth, the legend, Carolyn Rinker, is no longer with us. Rest in peace. Do you have any comments about Carolyn's contribution to what's going on behind us here?
I don't really think that words can express what Caroline brought to this. Caroline joined the committee probably 4 or 5 years into LEDucation and really brought it to the next level. We're very grateful to Peg Meehan and Bob Nadell, who were the originally produced the show. Bert came in and Caroline came in, and there's nothing I can say without going to tears. So,
Yeah. Rest in peace,
we miss
Caroline
her
Rinker.
greatly.
Yeah,
Yes.
we had her. We talked about her on the last live stream. This is our last stream, Greg, with those who are managing LEDucation. We want to thank you guys for stepping up, organically creating this from nothing, and the roots are growing beautifully. Folks, thanks to the DLFNY, Greg, Keystone Technologies. What else do we have there?
Everybody here just bringing the lighting industry together. That's what we talked about, and love to see this. So.
This is, and listen, this is my opinion, only my opinion, way hotter than Germany, and I was just there. Okay, way hotter. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.
And thank you all for having us and supporting us.
Absolutely, definitely.